Hi, Rich. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. It's good to see your face, although it's
Yeah.
good to see anybody's face these days. Um, Rich Yoakum, you have been the university counselor, Samford University's Director of Counseling and Wellness since 2011, so coming up on 10 years. And I know that you specialize in young adults, family systems, and substance abuse. You graduated from University of Illinois in both undergraduate and you received your master's degree from there too. Go Illini.
Yes, go Illini.
And I just wanted to ask you some questions that our audience of lawyers will be interested in hearing your viewpoint, I think. Since the pandemic hit mid-March and people started to physically distant from each other, have you seen any trends with respect to, health and wellness, mental illness, anything specific that you perhaps didn't expect?
That's a good question. We've seen an increase in anxiety, and I don't necessarily know if it wasn't anything that we hadn't expected, but I think maybe it's come out a little bit different, or it's maybe a little bit more pronounced than we had thought. The pandemic has brought about like a sense of uncertainty for the future, and it's kind of like this storm that's about ready to come, but we don't even really know that what's going to happen because there's so many things that are not known about the virus and about the quarantine, and it's so unusual. And there's just a whole lot that's packed in there about an alteration and a change and adjustment in life. And so anything that used to be simple isn't so simple right now. And that creates, of course, it creates a lot of anxiety. It's because we don't necessarily know what to expect. And that's the anxiety part and aspect of it. And then you combine it with the financial impact or the health risk, and with the unknowns about the quarantine or any other normal life events that were already present, it kind of compounds. And so we're seeing a lot of anxiety revolving around that, and it's been a challenge.
Are you still accessible to students while you're off campus, they're off campus? Are you still counseling over the phone or via computer?
Yes, we do see students over the phone, and phone is one, and then we do have video platforms such as Zoom and through the university, which is WebEx, and that's been a challenge as well. So it's the challenge about that, which is an interesting aspect about legally, is that my legal obligation is that I can't let go or abandon clients. So if we have a client in our client base that comes to Samford Counseling, right at the very beginning, especially at the very beginning of our quarantines, people dispersed and went back home. Well, across state lines, I'm not licensed to practice therapy in other states such as Georgia and Tennessee and Florida. And so my hands were tied that legally I'm not able to do counseling with some students that are in other states. So we've had to wait for a lot of legislation in order to change the laws in order for us to be able to see students across state lines.
I see. Are they changing at a rate that is fast enough, or is it delayed and too slow?
Yes and yes. We need unilateral and people to get together and get this straight, because you've got Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you get HIPAA. You get all kinds of these other organizations that are making these blanket statements and provisions of allowing telehealth. But the problem isn't that, the issue is that I have to answer to my licensure board. And my licensure board is the one that dictates what I do, not anything else, not Blue Cross Blue Shield or the APA or the American Journals or the American Medical Association, they're irrelevant, and I need to be able to have permission by my state board. But then also, I need to have permission from the client's state that I'm able to cross state lines and to be able to see them too. So that's a big issue that makes it really complicated, and we're waiting for some unification because some states are in compliance or are very open and others are resistant, and so it makes it very difficult.
So needless to say, that doesn't help the anxiety level, does it?
No, it doesn't. And as far as getting access to some students and makes it a little bit more challenging, and to be able to meet their needs makes it a little bit different. And again, yes, the anxiety about if you're already seeing a therapist or getting support, who else do I go to next?
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, part of the change, and everything's changed. Everything's different.
Assuming you are able to continue counseling students via Zoom or whatever other platform you might use.
Yes.
Is there a disadvantage, any disadvantage that that would occur as a result of that, that you wouldn't be facing with in-person counseling, or is it effective?
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you asked that, because, well, first of all, there are considerations about state laws and stuff, and as far as the telehealth, but bottom line is that if a student needs support and help, or you need support, we're going to be here for you. That's the bottom line. So we're not going to allow those types of situations to impede on being able to get what people need. So that's going to be paramount. The helping students get what they need is the most important thing. But with ideally, face-to-face is the best, is great, because there's a whole lot that happens with just that connection. And I think we can all understand that desire to be connected with people and just to be around people. Video conferencing is very helpful in the aspects that it's convenience, and that it's better than nothing, and for sure. And it can also be very effective for quick check-ins and different, quicker time to get some information in that needs to be done really quickly, and it takes away the travel time, and there's some aspects about it that are actually beneficial.
I think the lawyers that are listening are finding that about litigation as well, with hearings and conferences with opposing counsel, perhaps too. There's a lot of time being saved. I should have mentioned this in my introduction of you, but you are accessible to law students. In fact, you counsel graduate students across the campus as well as undergraduate students, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we welcome graduate students, and that we're totally available, and we're here for you.
If a graduate student that is currently enrolled contacted you right now from out of state, how would you handle that? Would you be able to counsel them right now, or do they have to go through any legal hurdles first?
Well, we would probably, if you reach out to us, we'll certainly set up a meeting to talk, and we'll discuss any kind of barriers or whatever needs to be taken care of, what state you're in and what you're looking for and what you need. But bottom line is we're not going to turn you away and say, we can't talk. We'll talk, we'll figure it out. We'll get you what you need. And that's really very helpful. And especially in this time of the quarantine and the adjustment with everything, is, man, you got to reach out. We need people. We need to talk to people, and sometimes that will have a tendency to just kind of keep things kind of quiet, and that's just not all that helpful. And reaching out and asking for help, or just saying, hey, I just need to talk. There's so much therapy, or there's so much, I like to say, there's a lot of magic that just happens by just saying things, and and setting an appointment, talking about something, even if there's just the mere fact is just talking about is really helpful. So yeah, we'll certainly do whatever we can do to help.
And that sounds like good advice, not just for students, but anybody who's feeling anxious or dealing with challenges during this time.
Absolutely.
And also, I'll just remind you again, you know that our audience is largely lawyers
Okay. Yep.
who are in a field that is, you know, prone to high anxiety, high stress, a lot of demands, a lot of pressure. What would you advise? What are your 3 top things that you would advise professionals during this time?
Yeah. No, you know, if there's one thing that like I notice in, you know, especially when I'm doing counseling with, you know, people from Cumberland, is just the amount of stress and also the profession of, you know, of litigation. And it's it's high stress. It's difficult. And then you compound it with all the adjustment and the changes that are going on, and everything's just flipped inside out. And there's so little that's not normal, if you want to put it that way. You know, there's a tendency sometimes, especially as lawyers, is to try to get justice. And we want things to be set straight and to be set back to normal again. And there can be a buildup of resentment, it may be whether it's fixated on policy or control or something. And, you know, and of course, we can get pretty anxious and very upset and allow our emotions to kind of dictate and lead us along in our behavior. And so that happens sometimes. And of course, then you know, sleeping in too late sure is really nice because you get to avoid all the problems. And maybe if you happen to drink too much, or if you don't, or you just avoid, hey, that's all kind of fun. And it kind of gives us a temporary relief from everything. But sometimes it'll actually build up, and things will start to just get to where they're overwhelming, or they require so much work for something that should be more routine. And when we catch ourselves seeing like there's too much energy that I have to put towards doing something, that becomes a sign. And what I encourage is, one, adjust expectations that right now things are going to feel like fish out of water. It's inside out, and feelings and emotions sometimes will get overwhelmed, or we'll feel tired, or we'll feel exhausted and doing things that we normally wouldn't. And then sometimes that tendency is to question that I shouldn't or should, or what's the matter with me. But lower that expectation to where, hey, it's just not normal times right now, and it will be, but right now it's not. And that's a really helpful thing, is just, one, lower that expectation. Two, set small attainable goals, like things that you want to accomplish. Set just, you know, with the behavior part, or, you know, just thinking about what you can do. There's things that we can't do. We can't fix policy. We can't fix the government. We can't fix the CDC. We can't change a whole lot of things. But what we can do is that we can think about what we are in control over, and that is you know, a task, a client, or a project, whatever that is, or even sometimes it's as simple as personal hygiene of taking a shower, putting on different, you know, or putting on clothes, or whatever that is. It's a little bit more different than wherever you're at. Is to say, all right, today I'm going to have this a goal. And it might not necessarily be a giant goal, but it's a small attainable goal, and to be able to be aware of that and think of that. And then, and lastly, I think it's a big part of it is just giving yourself credit for what you are doing right, and thinking about the things that you are accomplishing rather than what you're not accomplishing. Is when we start getting into that again, that negative mindset, or thinking about things that we're not doing or we can't do, it continues to kind of get heavy. Think about what you are doing right, and of course we did mention, and I think with that encapsulates all these things, is connection with your friends and with your community. We need each other more than now. If there's ever a time that it's paradoxical almost that we're quarantined, but now we need people. We need that time, whatever that looks like, and whatever that can be for you. I think that's critical. And as I said earlier, just saying, wow, I'm struggling with this, or this is difficult, or this is a bunch of crap, or I don't care, whatever it is, being able to start talking about things and identifying it sometimes just really lets the air out of the balloon in a good way, and it really helps. So using our resources and using our friends and our support network is really critical.
Wonderful words of wisdom. We're not alone, are we? Everyone is experiencing something to some extent.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, great advice, not just for the practicing lawyers, but for our students, and especially those new graduates who are now facing the bar examinations around.
Oh, good luck with that. Woo, woo.
Yeah, but like you said, one day at a time, facing or attaining small goals, taking small steps forward and giving yourself a little bit more credit, taking off the pressure, it can all help.
That's right. That's right.
Rich.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you, your time today. Take care.
It was a pleasure talking with you. Good luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.